thinking the audio came in.
Hello, hello, hi.
Do.
Oh yeah, we're good to go. All right, you guys want to introduce yourself and then we'll get going?
Keizaron.
Hi, I'm Keizaron.
I am Terra42.
Let's see if I can get the Aqua Minute.
Yeah, so Battlenet 2 like 3 has styles, and at the very well, when you select new game, your element's locked in, and there's an audio cue for that. So she's just do the timer based off of when new game is selected, and Keizaron reset and continue based off the cue.
Cool. Yep. Let's see if I got... We'll find out in an hour. Anyway, hello. This is Battle Network 2. It's basically the only Battle Network game that I run because I'm weird like that.
What's the best one? So, hardly blame you.
It's so good. So the crux of this is going to be lots and lots of soft resetting. If any of you saw Dallas's BN1 run, you saw that he did a lot of soft resets. So we're going to be utilizing those soft resets because they reset the RNG for us, and we're able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Killers and BN3 also did RNG manips. So this is the first marathon that has had 3 separate demonstrations of RNG manipulations. That's pretty cool to show you where each of the games is and the different ways that you can abuse RNG. Because each one, RNG works differently. In Battle Network 2, it's kind of a mix of both in between because there's only one RNG value, and a soft reset resets it, but it continues on the title screen, which means you can't do the super precise buffers that Dallas was able to pull off.
Also, to point out something Dallas said, he thinks that it was a few frames late. If I did it the exact same way that the video tutorial does it, which is on emulator, then I end up early. So keep that in mind. I am on console.
So a lot of the RNG manipulation setups use audio cues, and depending on your particular setup, whether you're playing on emulator, which emulator, if you're playing on console, if you're using audio splitters that have delays, if you're listening through OBS, all of these are factors that will completely change the timing on your audio manipulations. So that's kind of a hindrance, but it's usually not too bad, and if you practice a little bit, you can generally get a feel for how much you're off.
I pause here so I don't accidentally produce a turn frame that I don't want to produce. You see me do a folder edit already. That's going to be pretty basic fanfare for a while. I think I was a little early on that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to chain certain encounters so I can get guard stars. We need 3 of them. Alright, so JABJB. So what I want to do with this, what the heck?
So
on
it's
here
actually
somewhere.
Kind of cool how this works out. For each encounter, you get a mostly unique string of 5 characters based off of the codes of the chips in your folder. And depending on the virus combination and the chips that you draw, you can tell what your RNG index is, how to do the fight to get guard star, and then how to chain it into the next fight. So it's really cool combination of mechanics, and kind of crazy that it works out at all.
The funny thing is I know I've seen that encounter before, but I don't have it listed, so I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Were those hard turns?
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
So we could have a total of 2 guard star at this point in time, but we don't. I'm also using a slightly older route. Dallas is looking at rerouting things, but wasn't ready in time for this, so we're going to roll with this. I need 1500 Zenny. First try, easy.
Nice. That's kind of an audio cue. Since the RNG resets, you can reset in front of a green mystery data and get different things for it. It's very different than how Battle Network 3 works, but the same as Battle Network 1.
Don't remember if I'm supposed to skip the bug frag for this one or not. So we only have one guard star, which is kind of annoying. We can get 2 later, no big deal. It's faster to get all 3 by now, which is completely possible. But since there's a bunch of frames that you land on, depending on when you start the game, you'll get different results. Like if you land on the same frame, you'll obviously get the same result. But we're looking at a cluster of anywhere between 7 to 10 frames. So sometimes you happen to land on good frames, and sometimes you just have passable frames.
Yeah, and windows are really crucial for Battle Network 2 since the RNG does advance on the title screen. It's hard to get the exact same frame, but if you've got like, you know, a 6 to 10 frame window, it's passable.
So once again, pause buffer there so I don't produce a turn frame. We save here to be safe, because if we get an encounter, then it'll reset our step counter, and we kind of need the step encounter, or step counter, to be what I need it to be. Because we're going to chain after we pick up this data.
In Battle Network 2, there's a battleship called Prism, and it has unintended interactions with certain objects and attacks. In the Japanese version, if you throw a tree bomb onto a prism, they collide and it deals damage every single frame, which is kind of nuts. And in the English version, if you use a bar sword and do tri-slash through it, it has a similar effect.
Yeah, this is not an encounter that I normally produce, so let's just hope that it gives me the guard star anyway. It does not. All right. So I'll just not manip the last one. No big deal. It's a little slower, obviously, but it's not worth resetting this length of time. So the reason we wanted that Zenny early was so we could buy this HP memory. Normally by now I would just run away from all the encounters, but since we need that guard star.
So single tiles could be good.
So without manip, it's 50-50 if you get rank 6. Rank 6 we can achieve by movement. I believe it's 3 tiles.
Correct.
Oh, that sucks.
Lost. Keys of luck. No.
I'll jack back in later, no big deal. But so you can get it by movement, taking a hit, and waiting until the meter passes the M, and then you'll get rank 6, and then from there it's 50-50. Nice double input. Wow. This is why guard star manip was added, because I once got 12 fights in a row where I didn't get it.
That's unfortunate.
But I'll just jack back in after this, and we'll just grind a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. RNG manip is precise and imperfect, so sometimes it just doesn't work out if you don't get the right frames. But the reason Keizaron's doing English version this time is because in the previous marathon, we did the Japanese version, so we're kind of just rotating. And most likely, next time we'll either show off the new single segment, or Dallas will finish rerouting the net and give that a whirl. It's just variety.
That's one frame before the cluster.
If we did that prof, that would probably be a monthly, and we'll just have fun with it. There are major glitches. We explained them kind of at the start. There's only one, and it's certain objects and attacks interact with Prism in an unintended way that deals tremendous damage and trivializes almost all encounters and bosses.
Puppy.
Keizaron has a puppy.
Hey, you're gonna hear me yell at her a few times. She's being very mischievous right now. So I save right there for the same reason I saved in that second trip. We don't want an encounter because we want our step counter to be a certain number.
First try.
Oh my god, what did I do?
What?
Ignore that. Ignore that. No, I know how to do it. I just...
No, I was just trying to figure it out.
So something else that Dallas is looking into, he has a 4-frame window of this, I believe he said.
Oh yeah.
But instead of jacking out, jacking back in, and then setting it up again, he has a way to chain it, so you either go from a star to a G or a G to a star code.
Having the star-coded dash at least one is really nice because you can set it as reg. The second one is mostly just for the program events. This is a 2-frame window with an audio cue, which is pretty cool.
Alright, so now we got our 2 dash attacks. Dash attack's really handy. It's a very powerful chip. Star code lets you use it with other codes, and then on top of that, it helps us produce the program advance or Gutshoot. Gutshoot is very, very prominent until we get Gator.
G-code is pretty significant in the no magic glitches category.
Now I'm going to take this like a weenie, even though I know that there's a good movement manip. It doesn't apply for this first section because we menu at a different time, but...
So, do you know the setup for the second comp? Because it's real easy. You have a sneak run, right? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have a sneak run.
Okay. Oh, you used it now. Okay. So, after you pick up the HP memory, when you get pushed by the gas, enter your folder, exit, and then buffer up right, and do, what is it, Dallas? 4 wiggles, and then hold straight up, and you should run through all the gas clouds, and it'll look awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend like I understood what you just said. So get pushed after the HP mem.
Yeah, and then enter the folder menu.
Okay.
And then buffer up right, switched up, and do 4 wiggles.
Neat!
Oh my gosh. It's amazing!
First try, let's go. That's sick.
So that's new tech right there.
That's neat as hell. Let's go, team.
Yeah.
Never did it before that.
Done live.
Wiggles are so cool.
Yeah.
So, we haven't really talked about plot. So...
Oh dear.
Yeah, that something's wrong at Yai's house, and, we're here to save the day, I guess.
So, the evil organization in Battle Network 2, because in Battle Network 1, you know, you wildly exploded. End of World 3. You've saved the world. To replace them is this new Net Syndicate Gospel, and they're like legit terrorists. It's kind of spooky what they do. Battle Network 2 is real edgy. Oh, but this is Airman. You want to talk about like boss manips or anything?
Oh yeah, so I just pulled a bunch of swords.
How lucky!
How does he do it? So with the fight manips, I mean, we talked about like encounter manip and stuff, but with the fight manips, it's really interesting because they'll pull from alternating frames. Alternating frames will produce the same or very similar results depending on how early or late you are in the cluster. For intents and purposes, every single manip is 50%. It's not like a case of either you get it or you don't. It's just you either get the right frame or you get the very next one.
Parity.
But as we advance in the game, we try to offset that by making it so the alternating frames also produce what we want. So right now, and for something like Shadow Man, where we need 2 Gutshoot, our manips are essentially 50%, depending on how many chips we need, how important the fight is, so on and so forth. So that Airman fight is about a 50% to get. There's another draw you can get that's... Oh, what am I doing? There's another draw you can get that's super duper 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 awful. It's like a cannon and a recov and something ridiculous. Puppy! Hey, you!
Yo,
Bark.
the swag.
Hi. Yeah, you. You need to calm down, okay? So here's another interesting thing. So, okay, Pop. Typically, it's faster to talk to him first. We're just gonna roll with this. To talk to him first and get the fight going because it's less text boxes. But the less text boxes actually make it harder to manip this.
Oh,
so
nice
bad.
race rank. So, Gutsman ain't too bad in Battle Network 2. If you stand in the front, he is pretty good about coming to punch you. And we do have a bunch of swords in the folder.
So that obviously wasn't the frame I wanted to hit, but the thing about him is if you don't get the right frame, but you have like 2 or 3 swords, then it still usually works out to about 2 or 3 turns, so it's not really worth resetting.
Yeah. Because Gutsman... So, Lan invited all of his friends to go camping, and they said no. So he got sad and decided to go take a government-sanctioned net battler test, because that sounds like a fun time.
We also jack into the girl, that's the most important part.
The whole room. All counts. Gauntlets.
So gauntlets are pretty cool. Let me just make sure I get this audio cue. I have no idea if I got it or not, actually. I did not.
Attack plus 10 already.
This'll do. Alright, I did it slow, but... So, gauntlets are cool because you're trying to chain manipulated chips. So, you perform certain actions, that way you continue to land on certain frames. So like right there, if I didn't have the 2 guard stars in slot 2 and slot 4, I actually would have busted once. Because anytime you produce a particle effect, like right there I did that buster, anytime you produce a particle effect, it advances the RNG by 1.
Yeah, it's crazy all the things that affect RNG, and in 2 it's important because there's only 1 RNG value, so unlike in 3, where the chips you draw are separate from how the battle plays out, chaining and that's real easy. In 2, how the fight plays out affects future fights, which is kind of significant.
Hey. I even took her out beforehand. Sorry. Come on. No, you have to hit. It has to make contact.
Which is interesting because I'm pretty sure in 3, even if you, like, in 3 there's RNG from firing the buster and from hitting something. But in 2, I think it's just hitting something. So, that's variable.
So, I never actually read that text box. I'm pretty sure he says something along the lines of like, I can't walk, help me.
Yeah. He's like, someone stole my walk program. I cannot walk. Do you go to Dex's?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. Shotguns and V-gun don't advance, that's correct. Oh, this is nifty here.
Swag. Using movement for timing. You can, if you press A and hold it to buffer your attack while you're moving, you'll use it on the first frame. And you can buffer your movement between frames. So if you move 9 times, and in and back and press A, it will always happen.
Yeah, and doing it in terms of movement like that is just a lot easier than trying to like memorize the timing for it.
Listen, Dallas. I've done way too much single segment to remember any percent.
So depending on whether you get spare Zenny or not, from all the Guardstar chain manips, you might get it from like an encounter that you don't manipulate before you're able to run, or you might get a bad encounter that you might as well get some Zenny out of it, assuming your Guardstar count's good. You may or may not have a sneak run at this part. I think the encounter rate, like the chance of getting an encounter here, is decently low, but you're high enough HP anyway that if you get the encounter, you can run. So if you have the extra Zenny, then, you know, just having the guarantee is nice. And we definitely had the extra Zenny. So this is this upcoming manip. It's Gauntlet number 2. It's the worst thing on the planet. I hate it. It's so bad. If you don't see a wide sword, then you either reset or you wing it. So we got it first try. That's really good. Very, very good. Something to note with the first 2 gauntlets as well is if I don't have a guard or mini bomb in slot 5, I have to buster 6 times. That way I can put myself on a favorable set of frames.
This second fight's like the most important one, because these guys have a lot of health and they're invulnerable when they aren't attacking.
It's pretty bad.
Don't have a lot to deal with them at this point in the game. That's such a good strat. That fight. The V-gun on the button. Oh gosh. Manip is pretty cool.
So a lot of this manip is mainly for fight number 2 and fight number 5.
Wow.
We got the good draw for this. So when B tanks move, it's kind of obnoxious. When B tanks move, they're advancing RNG during their movement. So depending on how fight 3 goes, yeah, way to go, Mega Man. Depending on how fight 3 goes, you may or may not have the draw that I just had for fight 5. Fight 4 has pretty lenient frames, but fight 5, there's frames that don't have the second dash. So you end up using another turn, which isn't a huge deal. I mean, it's obviously a time loss because you have to wait for the next turn, but it's still relatively easy to finish. So now that we did our government ran program and we're now in the system, we're gonna go camping. Pretty regular. That's what I would do.
Yeah, our friends are like, hey, actually we aren't busy. Let's go camping tomorrow. Okuden's nice though. It's got good music, bees, speedy
bees. What's funny about the bees too is if you look at the text boxes, normally, you know, LAN and Dex have this like friendly rivalry thing where Dex wants to be the best and yada yada. But when you approach the bees, Dex kind of weenies out and he's like, "You're the leader of this group. You take care of the bees." Also, jacking into the statue because you can jack into like almost everything in the Battle Network world.
Mm-hmm.
Really valuable HP memory. I remembered the hold start this time, so we got the frame perfect clear of the cutscene.
180 health is the minimum to sneak run in the bomb comps, which it's kind of weird. In Battle Network 2, the sneak run value is lower than the run value, so you can sneak run before you can run away. So it's important. Very
Which,
important.
logically, that doesn't make any sense. 3 fixes that.
Yeah. And then the speedrun just turns into a running simulator.
So something you might notice is a lot of times I'll take extra chips that I don't need to. I only need to take the dash here, because, I mean, it's 90 damage to 90 health creatures. But by taking additional chips, I'm boosting my custom style points, and custom style is very, 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 very important.
Kind of a big deal. That man caught a fish with his bare hands.
He's so strong.
That old man chopped a tree down with his bare hand.
He's so strong. She
That
had a
lady
knife with
gave
her
you-
bare hand.
With her bare hand.
So I talked to them in that order. You can do male and Yai kind of the opposite, but you end up getting a really good lineup of decks if you do it that order. Like he just shows up right when you're done with everything.
Yeah. That means you did it right.
Man, puppy, you're making me nervous. What are you getting into? Kyrie! Yeah, you. I know you're up to something. So now we gotta jack into all these different pets. Because there's bombs everywhere, because this place is gonna blow.
Yeah. Because, you know, flooding Okuden Park is beneficial in some way to gospel. What a corner. The true boss of
Like,
Battle.
oh, come on!
As demonstrated.
Both times I was just like 1 pixel off, man.
1 pixel.
It only takes 1.
Indeed. It was a very strong pixel.
Dog. Oh, there you are. I'm gonna have to get new baby gates because she thinks they're chew toys.
So the gimmick here is that there are explosives hidden throughout, and if you take the wrong path, you'll get a cutscene where the walkway blows up and then you have to walk around. But they're in a fixed location, so if you haven't memorized, you can avoid them. This is why we're running around in a weird order.
There are 2 of them that even if you're going the right way, they'll go off anyway, and I'll show those off. They're really stupid. Like, it's so obnoxious. Hello?
Oh, like in the last comp where
Yeah.
you cut it too close and they just like, I'm exploding now.
Yeah, like, you're clearly going the right way, but they're like, nah, you ran into us, friend.
You're in my personal space.
Also, it's very, very minor stuff, but if you notice a lot of my movement, I tend to try and not turn frame as much as possible. Saving those frames.
Because every time you change direction or start running or like switch between run and walking, Mega Man will pause for 1 frame. And this can be useful at times to delay triggering an encounter to give you a different frame window. But for general movement, minimizing it is good.
Well, you see, as a connoisseur of Pokemon speedruns, movement's sometimes the only tech. But it behooves me to have good movement.
Menuing the game.
Also, something to note with those BMDs that I'm picking them up from behind. I can pick them up from up front, but they would explode. Like, the tiles would explode. It's kind of silly. So here are the 2 tiles I'm talking about. If you get too close to this, sometimes it goes off. It didn't this time. Now, if you cut this,
50.
even
Hey,
though
you guys-
that's not the direction I'm going.
You guys gotta see an explosion.
Oh my goodness, this pixel is so strong.
So that was Speedy Dave, and he's like, I'm gonna blow this whole place up and flood it because... I was close to fuck. For a second, he's on the other side of it.
I did too.
Net society is ruining nature, so I'm gonna save it by destroying it. This whole area will be underwater, including the place that I'm standing. But you know details.
Very, very Team Aqua, Team Magma.
He's got an IQ of 900. I don't know, like 180 or something. So here you finally get to see what we were building up to. Program advances. So if you combine the guard that we got, the dash attack, Gutsman, great guts you. Quickman moves 6 times. He's only vulnerable while moving or attacking. And if you time it right, boom, 400 damage.
The safest way to do it is let him hit you and then you can attack, but he moves 6 times, so I count his movements, and the 6th time he'll line up on you, so As long as you don't take too long and hit his attack.
Yeah. But if you can count to 6, you can get the quick kill.
Counting's important in video games. Something else you might notice that I'm doing, you've probably noticed it too in like Battle Network 3. So I'm buying these passes immediately after I use them. It's just a little more efficient in terms of movement. It's very minuscule, but it adds up with all the travel.
Mm-hmm. Those little optimizations. Dallas approved.
Hey! You make me do bad. Come here.
Although I will say that unless you're going for world record, it is an excessive optimization for beginning runners. So don't stress over it.
Stress over it or else.
Yeah.
Now we talk to this guy, which you don't see because it's a cutscene. And now we have access to the request board.
We tried to take the A license exam, but we're not qualified to take the test, so they're going to test us to see if we can take the test. Wait a second.
Hey! Man, this VOD's going to be so weird, because people are going to be like, why is he yelling a Kingdom Hearts character, when that's not even what I named her after? So this guy is, he lost his prog. Well, that's the test. That's the thing, is all of these are just tests. Also, I do that turn frame there because if I just hold right, then I get stuck on the kid.
Yeah, Blue Hat Kid's a bit of a problem.
Although what's interesting about the movement here too, like it's such a minor thing, but what's interesting is, as you saw, I went behind the girl that was standing there. She's there like every other time that you come here. And if you don't approach it in that way, like if you're not hugging the wall by holding down, then you can't pass her and you just get stuck.
So, due to Keizaron's super optimal movement, he saves 1 frame every time that girl is there, and then loses 10 because he gets stuck in the corner.
It's true.
The struggle is real.
It's the big boy strats. You gotta go big or go home. Now this prog's all, oh, you found me. Oh, my owner's looking for me. Thank you. My world is saved. Hooray. Also, this is kind of nice. You can hold against the wall there and you just slide in. I don't think you can do that in 3.
Just imagining Lan like running full speed into a wall and then scraping along the side of it.
Puppy. Don't do that. But trying to eat everything. Why are you doing this now?
That is the ultimate frame saver, the delayed sunflower.
What the heck? You definitely saw that I pressed A there. That was rude.
Guy's like, sorry. Did someone say something? I wasn't listening.
But yeah, so see, by holding down I pass her, but if I hold this like this, I can't get past her.
The frames!
Rip the frame. Wait, is delayed sunflower actually faster?
So, there's 2 opportunities you have to talk to Sunflower, and if you talk to her in the first opportunity, the second time, when you run upright and then up to go into the center, there's a lady that gets in your way, so you have to use 1 extra turn frame to get around the lady. But if you talk to Sunflower on that second trip, then you save the turn frame because on the first trip, the lady is not in your way.
I never knew that. I always did it first trip because I would just hold it right. It's easy.
Yeah, it like lines up right with it. It's very convenient to do it that first time. Alright, different order.
Yeah, so we do this first because we don't need to folder edit quite yet.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can get an encounter here. It's really, really stupid.
Very
nice, and we got the good draw. So sometimes you can draw a V-gun here, sometimes you don't. You'll always get the dash, and since your guard is regged, you'll always have the guard. So you'll always have a way to finish this fight. But obviously having the V-gun makes it faster.
Yeah. It's just, do you get to kill them before they attack or after?
Alright, this is Monty's baby.
This is silly.
There's obviously a better setup than that, but it's super funny. Oh my god.
Good draw. Close on the selection.
Woof. What? What? Not now. Don't do this now.
Oh, your puppy's got a good voice box.
Aw, man. Alright.
Oh, was that, I guess, not the right draw?
Oh!
Oh.
That was rude. I thought he was pulling back. Alright, well, you know what I get. That was rude. That hurt me. Alright, so we do that because we need the Gutsman V2 for these fights.
Yeah, Gutsman V2 is pretty good. Wait, what did you take out for it? Gutsman V1?
Yep. It's in slot 4. It's just there. It's just most convenient to do it. Like, we have to folder edit again anyway, and we'll put Gutsman V1 back in.
Oh.
Time bomb. Also, as you can see, Dex believes in the linked battles because he has 2 Game Boy Advances and a link cable. He's all about that. He's all about the BN3 beta. That's a fair and balanced PvP. So this is like the second hardest fight if it weren't for manip.
Got you.
That'd be so funny.
There's definitely 2 fights that I would categorize as above the difficulty of where you're expected to be, and that is the first of them.
The second one we'll see in about, what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah. Because those 2 fights, if you're not you're not expecting, can very easily kill you. The second one can kill you even if you are expecting it without manipulation. You don't know the strat.
It's awful. It's funny because we were talking about this was a little while ago, like kind of recent. We were talking about some of the rerouting stuff for a single segment. And the reason why it's single segment is because, like I said, if you reset, then you're technically manipulating the game. So single segment's the only way to not manipulate it. So Terra, Dallas, and I were kind of just shooting the breeze in Terra's chat. And I was like, all right, well, you know, I haven't done single segment in forever. I'll do an offline attempt. And I was actually about 3 minutes ahead of the record at the time, which the record wasn't good, but this is before the reroute. And I was using an old route, and 3 minutes ahead, and then I get to that second hard fight, which is a bunch of sorties, and I got area locked and wrecked.
It's very easy for that to happen.
All right, putting everything in charge because I got Aqua. I know I did. If I didn't get Aqua again, I'll be sad.
So Battle Network 1 and 2 use a level system that incorporates power-ups. Power-ups were replaced by the Navi Custom 3, so that went away, and you have an invisible level. But your ability to run from fights and sneak run in areas is dependent on Mega Man's level, which is affected by multiple factors. How many HP memory you have, how many power-ups you have, your style change increases it. I think that's it in this game. HP memories are 1 level, power-ups are like 4?
4, I think.
And then style is 6, I think. So we need to end the game at or above level 51. Oh, obligatory coffee joke.
Yeah, so this mission's interesting. So he basically runs to the guy and he's like, this coffee is too coffee-like. There must be a virus.
Consistent slot 2 guts, man.
Yeah, this fight is actually one of the reasons why Montebank looked into fully manipulating the whole game. So when I picked up the game, Doisum had manipulations for all the bosses, but nothing else.
Shoutouts to Doisum.
And then I got to this fight, and the fight was super annoying, but I noticed I was drawing slot 2 a lot, so I started putting Gutsman there. And then Montebank kind of looked in that and was like, oh, hey, well, you also got a couple of other setups, so maybe we can apply it to the whole game. And at first I was like, that's a little ambitious, no way. But no, he was right.
Monty's a smart guy. Like, very brief history of RNG manipulation. Prismatic Black used to run 1. Super hardcore resets in the first area. CL Plex's A Golden Sun Runner is like, this is a Game Boy game. Game Boy games have terrible RNG. Let me see if we can manip this. Turns out you can. Showed it to Prism. Prism adapted it to Battle Network 1. We expanded upon it. And then Doisum is like, you know, this probably works in Battle Network 2. I looked at it and said, oh, RNG advances on the title screen. It'll never work. Not RTA viable. Doisum did it anyway. Crazy guy. Very skilled. And also he did all of his routing on console, not emulator. So he didn't have like all the fancy HUD.
I know what that's like.
It's very difficult, so I'm very impressed with what he was able to come up with. And then after he left the game with the partial manipulation, then like Keizaron and the others came in, picked it up, and then Montebank was the first one to do Battle Network 2 fully manipulated. And it was very impressive.
Alright, so our reward for fixing the coffee is the best chip in the game, Recov 30 star.
Does that even go in the folder?
No.
Now we're waiting for Dallas. Yeah. Shoutouts to Dallas. Guy comes out of nowhere and he's like, I'm gonna get world record in every Battle Network game in order. He's destroyed 1 and is partway through 2.
Alright, no L code in slot 3, so I don't need the buster. So Gauntlet 3 isn't like Gauntlet 2 in the sense of it's really detrimental whether you get a certain jar or not. Most of Gauntlet 3 you can finish off with your regged dash.
So good.
I look forward to seeing a new manipulated route and having some competition for once. I've had this record for way too long.
Yeah, like speedrunning, especially once you get down to the really optimized stuff, is difficult and takes a lot of time. And the Battle Network community is small, but these games are super interesting from a speedrunning standpoint because they're each so distinct. And the combat system is unique amongst, I'd say, all video games. So if you're a fan of the series and you're interested in attempting or trying to learn some of the speedrun stuff, it's fun. And all of us in TeamBN that hang out in the Discord like to see new people picking up the game and learning it, and are more than happy to help answer questions. And we're constantly working on tutorials and resources, although they are still pretty bare. Oh, but this is the tough fight, so I want Keizaron to talk about it.
So, if you don't do this fight right, they can area grab you until you're locked out. It really sucks. Aww. I didn't get the good draw. Oh well.
Oh, double dash. For the sorties, after they attack 3 times, they will use area grab. And it's like, I think sortie 1 has 1 area grab, sortie 2 has 2, sortie 3 might have 3 area grabs. It's kind of unfair.
So if you get a good draw there, a good draw would include a guard star. So you would guard the sortie, and then you would do guts, and then you would just finish the fight. You get a chance of winning a fire sword. If you win a... Is it fire sword or fire blade? I think it's fire sword. If you win the fire sword, then you can skip the fire blade later, which we get a fire chip for the goofball. It saves 1 second. 1 whole second.
Yeah, what did we have? Jameek had his first time battle mode appearance. Dallas, was this your first marathon as well? It's like a couple people only recently picked up the games, and they're already like presenting them in marathons. So it's very easy to go from no experience to showing in a marathon for being games.
So normally that fight goes a little faster, but since I put points in charge instead of attack, it went a lot slower. But you make up for that by getting the legendary Aqua cuts. Alright, so Gauntlet 4 is almost like Gauntlet 2. In the sense of you need a specific draw or you can't advance. If I see a Recov 10 or a shotgun chip anywhere, then I reset. Luckily, first try. Easy peasy.
That satellite kill with the movement setup's pretty cool. So this wind box advances RNG like every so many frames, like every time that particle appears. So you need to kill it in kind of a consistent amount of time to maintain RNG, but it's very hard to tell what your parity is, which is why this third fight helped fixes the parity again.
Yeah, if you see a guard star in slot 2, you just bust her once.
Yo, Garrett. I like your name.
Gee, I wonder. So all of this is so this fight goes well. You want to draw both Gutsman, which we did. So we just spam A and win the fight. Otherwise, it gets a little obnoxious. It's not too hard. Something you can do is hope that you're on a frame where the satellite goes up, because then you can just go up and dash. And you'll hit both the satellite and the sortie, and the satellite will almost be dead. But I've noticed that more often than not, with this setup, it goes down.
It would be interesting to kind of crunch the numbers, see if there's a pattern.
No, I don't sneak run here. We have a chance to get an encounter. It's pretty low. For whatever reason, if you talk to this if you talk to the cube here, your step counter resets, so you can make it. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of arbitrary what things you can interact with, where the game's like, oh yeah, this must be a new area. Let me just reset your step counter.
And the biggest reason why I don't use the sneak run there is because the encounter rate's so low, and because you have that opportunity to reset the step counter, you're able to combine your menu right there, kind of like what I just did. In a game that's all about menus, being optimal with your menus and combining them is really, really important to saving little bits of time, which add up.
For sure. And also because you delayed it so long, I'm pretty sure you won't get the sneak run rundown message.
Yeah.
Which is also a time save.
Yeah, so a lot of my sneak run usage relies on using it at points where the text box doesn't come up, so we don't get that time loss. It's a minuscule time loss, but still time loss. Like, what, a second? Half a second? I never timed it. It's obviously slower, because you stop movement.
Yeah, maybe one day they'll re-release the BN games again in like a collection on a portable console. So here's
like
a fun
the
boss.
Switch.
Like the Switch, yeah. Oh no, sound is broken. What will we do? Hey look, it's Cutman. Oh, he fixed the sound. Thanks, Cutman.
What a guy. This is one of the rare
out.
times where you're going to see me willingly use a guard star that isn't in a gauntlet. So in gauntlets, you don't get points towards styles. So you can utilize guard star just fine.
Look at Cutsman's hands
I'm sad.
before he dies.
you have there's 2 possible draws you can get on turn 2 with this manipulation. One of them is what I just got, which obviously works. The other one's better. It's mini bomb and then 2 attack plus 10s. Mini bomb is faster and it's also better. All hail mini bomb.
Signature chip.
I have hit many a thing with mini bomb that have no business getting hit by mini bomb. That is my calling card. You know how like V for Vendetta, he like slashes a V. Yeah, mine's a mini bomb. That's why the Japanese version is so cool to me, because the prism glitch, you throw a tree bomb, which is basically just a wooden mini bomb. Using guard does count towards shield style, yes.
Whoa. Okay. The stream froze on my side for 1 second, but it's cool now. Shoutouts to Battle Network 1, which didn't have the Navi customizer or any way to change your buster, so they had like buster battle chips, which for the duration of a fight, or maybe a turn, changed it. And there's one battle chip called Buster Bomb, which replaces your buster shot with a mini bomb.
Yes.
If you watched Dallas's all chips run, you saw that it's legitimately a speedrun strat.
So we have to utilize the board here, and I think what's happening here is we're waiting for something to be submitted. So the way that we kill time is we talk to all of the NPCs. And I want to say it was either the last marathon that I did this in, or the second to last. I somehow missed one NPC.
That's weird. Stream did the 1 second skip again. Your dad tells you to look for a programmer, so you post on the board asking about a programmer, and while you're waiting for a response, Mega's like, let's try asking everyone in the square.
Aww.
You just talk to Navis and they're like,
I bought the wrong pass.
Turd. And then they're just like singing about how awesome it is to be in the square.
So I purposely utilize a couple of turn frames there because it allows me to pass her. Both to and from.
Fast. Yeah, if you go too fast, you actually just get stuck in her. It's kind of awkward.
Also, this guy talks for like 3 minutes, so now's a good time to read donations.
He's giving you his life story.
He's literally speaking a whole novel. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's a very emotional experience for all of us.
Yeah, I'm emotionally dead inside afterwards. So this is one of those alternate times where the girl isn't on the bridge, so I can do slightly less.
Optimal movement.
Oh, but then I did this wrong. Oops. Disregard.
Save the frames, kill the seconds.
Yeah, now I can just go down and then down right and just have a clean entryway here. It's one less turn frame.
Is that a normal Navi in the real world? I must be saying things. Oh, Dallas is asking for you to do delayed sunflower.
No, I'll forget. I refuse.
As long as there's waitress skip. Oh boy.
Alright, so we talked about that yesterday. No, 2 days ago. We talked about it 2 days ago. I need to get the power up late.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting it early. See, I really wish that we could make it to this PMD. Just so we can do all our menuing in, like, one sitting. I mean, like, we'd still have to pull up the menu twice.
You probably could. You just risk running into an encounter. So, like, on average, it's probably slower, but it could be faster.
I mean, you can kind of buffer your menus, too, so it probably isn't even remotely worth doing.
I mean, maybe.
But the swag.
But that's
the swag. That's why you speedrun, for the swag.
Exactly.
Alright, puppy update for anyone that's interested. She pooped herself out. We in there.
Hoping figuratively.
Alright, so if you accidentally buy air shoes there, your run is dead.
Kinda.
I mean, you can make it up and come back later, but I mean...
It's pretty bad. Attack plus 30 is an incredible chip, and
it's actually like straight up the second most useful chip.
Yeah, and the 8 bug frags that you pick up to get it are almost literally in your way.
Yeah, there's very little bug frags that are out of your way. That Yumland 2 one is, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's the only one that you have to go out of your way for. Every other one's literally just hiding in a corner that you just hug a wall to.
if you do optimal movement, you will run into them.
Yeah, who needs a bunch of attack plus 10s if you have an attack plus 30? Which, fun fact, once we start using the Gator PA, a lot of the alternate frames either pull the 30 or 2 plus 10s. The 30 obviously being faster. It's one less chip to select.
Alright, get ready for sad music.
Any second now.
Coming up are some very, very important, kind of tough fights, but thanks to manipulation, gets from V2 and attack plus 30, it's not too bad. The second one, though, is kind of a decider.
The second one's super important because for plot reasons, later we're going to need the Zappering 2B chip. That's the best fight to get it in. So what I do is I actually came up with some manip for it. So depending on how the bunnies move, I'll know what frame I'm on, and then I do certain actions to produce the opportunity to get the chip. Oh, gross.
Guts.
So you actually have 2 opportunities to get the chip. There's the second fight and the fourth fight. Now the second fight, it's 2 bunnies and then a non-bunny. So your chances are higher, whereas the fourth fight, there's 1 bunny and then 2 non-bunnies. So it just makes more sense to do it now.
Yeah.
Alright, so this draw, let's see, either the top bunny will move right or the top bunny will move down.
So those are its 2 options.
So move down, so I got a buster and then shoot. And I believe that produces it. No, it doesn't. Okay.
Oh, sad.
Oh, I was supposed to let the other one move as well. Oops. I didn't let the other one move.
I guess they get out of sync because the meteor guy blocks the bunny from moving.
So he moved right. So we let them move again. And this should produce it.
Show me the Zapper.
Neat.
Oh yeah. If you get S rank and you see Zappering, you know it's speed. Because that's a 100% drop. So Dallas, you're gonna chain all 4 of these together, right? Yeah? Cool, sounds good. Can you imagine?
That'd be so nice.
Madness. This fight is terrible without manipulations. Because the spookies will almost infinitely heal the sortie. Very difficult. I'm not looking for excuses, Dallas. I'm looking for dead categories.
I'm looking for results. I can't tell you how often that fourth fight, even after manipulating, I'll get another Zappering 2B. It's just so upsetting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Alright, so
It's like there's a small window.
don't grab the power up yet. Delay it. Do I grab it after I talk to him again or before I talk to him?
You talk to Dad, get the power up,
Okay.
wait your skip. Wait your script saves several frames. Just watch the text. Just final.
There you go. I just lost a second because I didn't win a fire sword earlier. Darn.
RNG.
So this is another time to take advantage of the beautiful slot 2.
Slot 2 is real good. It's like legit an 80 frame window. That is over 1 full second. Or you do dash second.
I mean, it's slower to do it the way I did, but oh well. You. Alright.
Oh,
We did it!
That's a pretty good skip too. Very few tries. It's easier when she's not running away from you. No, Barbarossa.
It's so much more swag when she's running away though, because it's so ridiculous looking.
Indeed. Purposely resetting saving to guarantee chip draw. Indeed. This is a thing that we can and do.
He said doo-doo.
Yeah. We're mature here.
Sure are.
So, we are now level 24.
Cat.
Which is... Oh. So, the passwords here are kinda... They're really great. So this is the most advanced, powerful, secure supercomputer in all of Electopia.
River. Also, to answer Del Polo here. So, Prism glitch is the major glitch. Manipulation is not a glitch. Like, anybody who thinks manipulation is a glitch is, just objectively wrong. Well, let me see if I can do the fight skip here.
It's early. So close. This could be... Oh my gosh. Are you going to white screen it, or are you going to... The smart decision.
So, we actually need the custom style. So, we shouldn't skip that fight, but I mean, it's a fun thing to do.
If you pause on the same frame that you step on a trigger in Battle Network 1, 2, and 3, strange things. What's particularly interesting to note about this encounter... Oh, and style change is coming up, so you have about 2 seconds.
I want a guard star! What the hell?
Oh, you got a guard star! That's perfect.
Oh, look, I got wood. I was late.
Oh, snap.
That's not bad.
Isn't it kind of atrocious?
It's not bad.
It's not a leg. It's not the worst.
It's not bad. So the Aqua style manip isn't hard to do. It's just the audio is a little different for emulator compared to console, and that's only the second time I tried it. The first time I was 1 frame early. I mean, this is still like a very usable thing.
Yeah. The main benefit comes from being custom style anyway, which lets you draw 2 additional chips at the start, so having 7 to pick from instead of 5 opens up a bunch more possibilities.
Oh shit. Let's try that again.
It's a secure password. You weren't able to guess it.
Well, because I got caught on that little nub. Watch.
Watch what?
Oh, damn it. I keep getting caught. Alright, let's try that again. Almost there. No! Come on! We're almost there, guys. It's okay. Almost there.
The SP or the GameCube?
I was using SP.
Gotcha.
I'm just getting caught on every pixel known to man right now. It's all good.
They're too strong. Because I think the last practice run, Keizaron's SP died, and so he had to switch to GameCube controller, and that was fun for a while.
Wig. Gem. Mash. H knife.
Fantastic volunteer.
You can go.
You can go.
Jumps.
You can jump. You can hack the computer.
Spider.
Scooter.
Are these like actually relevant in any way?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure because it's like they had to localize this from Japan, and so they had a different. Because you can do a lot more with a character than you can a letter, so they probably had to simplify or change a lot of the passwords to make it fit with English. So it's probably just okay. We need something that's this length, and it's maybe tangential.
This is the best one. Gikmaksui, also known as hold left.
Exactly. Virus. Viral. Indeed. Oh, shoutouts to the GameCube logo on the right.
So this is the last like actually difficult manip. By difficult I mean 50%. Not difficult at all, but looks like I got it.
Oh, something.
I believe I never actually looked at how the alternating frames work. Also, I'm camouflage, kill me. But I never actually looked at how the alternating frames work, but typically I've noticed that if I have 2 of the 3 pieces, then it works. So like I get 1 full one and then 2/3 of one. So like right here, we're fine. I'm also invisible, let's go.
Where'd he go? Oh, Gutson found him, and he's gone. And from my hand, I summon Green Mega Man!
So this starts to begin the major changes between the any % route and the no major glitches route. So there's some minor things, like different Zenny pickups here and there, which I'm sure once Dallas reroutes, like we can apply a lot of it to the Japanese version. But there's a lot of like minor things up to this point in time, like a couple of different Zenny you pick up and a couple of things you skip. But now we're going to fight Mr. Famous after I do some plot. We're gonna fight him twice because we need to get a chip from him. You wouldn't do it in the any % category because you wouldn't need the chip.
Indeed. Or folder 2.
Or folder 2.
Based folder 2. Sorry, Dallas, you're a little short to date. Shoutouts to Gateman. Dash attack buster, Gutshoot.
I'm just gonna buster him. It's gonna be fun.
Wood buster. So if you get Gateman below half health, exactly 299 in this case, he will summon the Remo Gate, which is just a whole lot of annoying. So we're not gonna bother with that.
We did it. See, it's funny because that's the draw you want for the second fight because he has 800. So it's exactly what you need. But I always tend to get it this fight. It's so lame.
Speed memory.
Oh, nice! Finally, my prayers have been answered.
You did it! Won the coin flip.
Yeah, this is pretty much the last example of seeing significant difference in we shoot. Oh, seeing significant difference in alternating frames.
Mashing the A button.
Look at that flashing in the screen.
What does it mean? Oh, it's dead.
Also, it's really important that after you win this fight, you immediately go in and grab that chip.
Add it to folder. Do you take anything out of 2 in this run?
You just get the you put Gatesman in slots 1, and then you're good to go.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff in that folder too. There.
There's a lot. No, there's like Rock Cube, Star. There's a G, High Cannon G. few other star chips. It helps compensate if you don't really get good drops.
Yeah. Max out your attack plus 10s, 90 plus 20.
So this here, like what we're doing right now, isn't necessarily needed for the plot, but it makes things easier later. So it's a time sink now. We front load our time loss, so we save time later. By doing that, we'll have a really, really handy warp because of the gate key for the freeze man scenario. And then the 10,000 zenny from that guy. We could mitigate his 10,000 zenny by manipulating another GMD later, but GMD manipulation's a pain.
Mm-hmm. The 10,000 zenny from the old man cost, I think, roughly 40 seconds. So to get it from a GMD instead, you'd have to get it on the first couple tries. So we just lost our PET, we lost Mega Man, and now we got mugged. We lost all of our money, and Chad was mean to us. But we got Mega Man back, so it was a trade-off.
Chad was mean to us. Shoutouts to Chad the Chode.
Best international trip ever. And here, we activate our PET's translation system. Now we can completely understand and communicate with foreigners.
Well, this is the guy that mugged us.
Yeah, shoutouts to Johnny Bravo, the nicest mugger ever. Shout out to Gutshoot, killing a 300 health fishy.
It's so funny.
Die! He honestly deserved it.
Dude, I got a dash attack star. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
We're getting all these good drops when it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you just lost the guard star because that guy stole all of your chips.
Yeah. Everything we won that was super cool, we just lost because everything got stolen.
Sad face. And now we call Mega Man a mega dummy.
I should have let that cutscene play.
It's kind of the worst day ever. But it's Higsby, so everything's better now because we got to talk to Higsby.
I didn't even realize Dash came in L code in this game. That's awful.
It's crazy. Like, you can only get that if your health is below 25%.
It's neat. That guy gets so out of the way.
And this is Grandpa Harumph.
Humph, Jim, Humph. He's like a Emperor Palpatine, except with Jim. Something, Jim. Something, God Star.
Oh, and if you talk to Higsby there, he gives you a few chips, including the illustrious Tree Bomb 1 star.
So good.
Gosh, cowards have confusion. Have you seen the Buster only version of this fight, this wood style?
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
It's super funny. Oh, I missed my chance. What am I doing? No! Do I hit?
Oh.
Is he too low? No!
Whoops.
Let's pretend that didn't happen.
And so this is Thunderman. Have you seen the Buster only fight for this guy?
Pretty ridiculous.
His clouds are super annoying. They don't give you iframes, and the electric orbs don't give you iframes. The only thing that does is his lightning bolt attack. And remember, we manip for Aqua, so this is not a fun fight in that case.
No, it's not. You can take essentially like one giant hit. So like the way that I did movement there, like as Aqua you would still be fine, but you would ouch a lot.
Very easy to die here.
But now that's the last time that we really get Gutshoot. Like unless we somehow manipulate horribly wrong.
Yeah, because combined with the Gateman that we picked up and some shopping we're about to do, things are going to be really different, but mostly the same as they were previously.
Lots of cutscenes and lots of stuff being thrown around, but by a different person. And we slap somebody's butt. It's very inappropriate.
Getting friendly with Gateman.
So a benefit we have with the manipped route for now, at least with this route, is we're gonna buy 2 wind stars and 3 fan. Now, the 3 fan is just so we guarantee that we draw it. We only need the 2 wind because we're gonna reg the first wind, and we actually don't even put the second wind star in our folder until very late in the game. Because we don't need a second Gator until the very last fight.
Yeah. Only one guy deserves 2 Gators.
And sometimes, depending on what category you're running, he might not even get 2 Gators.
Swag.
This is a little bit of there's a little bit of neat menuing here. So we have one, well, I gotta do a folder edit first, but hold on.
Yeah.
Oops. No, go back. Go back. What?
Area grab is still.
What the heck?
You were at area.
Where the hell did I put it? Oh, I didn't. Oh.
You didn't yet.
Yeah. No, I see. I was like, what the heck? Must have been a dropped input. So anyway, what I was trying to say, so we have 1 sneak run left. So we use it here because we need to use one, and then we can buy our full display of sneak runs.
It's like we had 5. Amazing.
The sneak runs that we bought, we're going to use in the castle comps. And what sucks about the castle comps is we could really use a 5th one because you go through 5 different areas. But you don't get access to a way to buy a 5th one until you get to the castle comps.
It is a very good example of the word irony.
Wind fan sword.
Sword storm? Well, this is Gator. It needs no explanation.
So Gator steps in front of us. We smack his butt a few times, and he just spits out a bunch of stuff. So he shoots out 9 projectiles. Each one does 100 damage. Now, I specify that because if you use something like an attack plus 10, it doesn't become 910 damage, it becomes 990 because it's adding plus 10 to each projectile. And considering the fact that up until the final boss, there is nothing that you run into in this run that has more than 1,000 health, you only ever need 1 Gator.
Ha ha ha, I paid 500,000 for these chips. Lady, there's like 10 of them and they're all bad.
Let her have her victory.
It's like, honestly, I just, you can keep the chips. I don't want them. Let me just go to bed and end the day.
So Snake Man has a property that he shares with Freeze Man where you have some frames where he doesn't do anything right away, so you just mash A. Pretty great. Also, I'm pretty sure she's hitting on us, like...
Gives 10,000 zenny for services rendered.
What the heck?
Wayne really has to go to the bathroom.
These pixels are too strong, man.
I need an adult. Lady, I am an adult. 500,000 zenny for 0.08 seconds of entertainment. Yo, passable walls. Hey, it's Johnny Bravo again. I'm sure it's a different one though.
I hope it's the same one. Like we just find out after all these years. It's like I've turned myself in for my evil deeds and now I'm here to help save the day.
Yeah. So we were having an official Night Battlers meeting and now everyone's in a dungeon. Something went wrong somewhere.
So as you notice, I haven't used a sneak run. This is the smallest area in the castle comps. You average 3 encounters. That's an early one, that sucks. You average 3 encounters. You can get as low as 2 and as high as 4. This is shaping up to be a 4. I'm gonna go for the swag, man. I'm gonna go for it. It's not here yet, but I'm gonna go for it. This is really shaping up to be bad.
Yeah, those are some pretty early encounters. The gimmick for this comp is that you have to pick up the blue mystery data that contains the cyber key to open the door, to progress through the area, to get to the end, to get to a mechanism to disable the trap that's keeping you locked in that room. But while you're exploring, you're being chased by these NPCs, such as a vampire that if you come into contact will take 100 of your health, a zombie which will take you back to a fixed location, or a bandit who will take half of your zenny and hide it in a chest at the end of the area. But they spawn in fixed points and follow fixed patterns, so they're mostly avoidable.
Oh no, the princess is in danger.
We're all going to die. Keizaron, do something.
I will have my dead cybernetic twin brother jack into the internet to save the day.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Alright, let's see. So, if I do this movement right, I can get in front of this bandit. I'm gonna try my hardest.
Go for the swag.
Oh. Go. That's actually really hard to do. I need to emphasize that. That's really hard.
That's a task trap. Well done.
So when you interact with an object, oh no, I'm going for it. Get in, there we go. When you interact with an object, you have a small window where you can still do some extra movement. So the only way you can do that is if you grab that BMD and take a couple of steps. It's really hard. I'm sure Prism would be able to do it just fine because he's the king at doing the swag strats, but that boy could do some post-interaction movement like no other.
Oh no, you missed a reg up. Wait, wrong category.
Oh, you grabbed that? That's cool.
Yeah.
I remember I picked it up once because I was like, what is this? Oh, reg up, I don't need this. Who needs these?
Yeah, I think there's that one and then like 2 in the airplane, I think that's it. Oh, shoutouts to Crispy Raoul.
Shoutouts to Raoul Crotchmanip.
It's optimal. Protoman, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Gateman.
So what's interesting about this manip is, I mean, you know, we save on his crotch and we just wait now. Before I discovered the timing for this, Win Sunrise 1, who was a former Battle Network 3 runner, him and I were here for about 2 hours, actually, trying to figure out a good setup. And one thing that we did was you step in a corner, you go off of an audio cue, obviously, but you step in a corner, and then you walk to him, because the walking allows enough time to pass. We called it the Walk of Doom. And I was really sad when Monty rerouted this and the timing of it changed, but I was really pleased to find out that the very last manipulation you do in the game requires the Walk of Doom.
Sometimes you gotta go slow to go fast.
This part makes me laugh every time. It just shows how ridiculous wall running is.
Yeah.
So I do this part in a certain way, just so certain things spawn in certain places and I have a trouble-free trip.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to go about it.
So there's absolutely no chance of running into anything else unless I like drop my controller or my batteries die. There's also a neat trick coming up here. It's not too terribly difficult, and if I fail it, it's no big deal.
Everything will be ruined forever.
Neat. See his corner
Everything
clip.
is awesome. Ah, the skull minute. So this is Nightman. He can jump.
Aw, Gutter.
Oh, maybe, maybe you will see him jump. Win. Bang.
Gutter again.
Gutsman. Fly away.
I think I'm in the wrong spot. I think I'm barely early. Oh, well, that was an early press, but you know, ignore.
It's a sign. Clearly, you need to do 4 wiggles. Nope.
That was ridiculous. So, okay, I'm looking at my little cheat sheet here for my manips. So what's happening there was I was too early, not because my timing was wrong, but because I'm supposed to take a couple steps back. Oops.
Positioning's everything.
How could she be the evil villain though? She was behind with us and was scared. Also, this is a really important thing that's about to happen. So, you can buy this brooch for 1,000 zenny, and it's like, oh man, why am I wasting 1,000 zenny on like a clearly cheap thing?
Rip-off souvenir.
Well, it becomes 10,000 zenny later, so it's 9,000 free zenny.
It's insane. I never knew about the souvenirs until we routed the speedrun.
Didn't the old route get all of them?
Yes, because I wasn't very smart.
Fair enough.
I was like, oh, you know, it's like clearly you buy the gifts in the order of your friends, where you get the thing for Male, then the thing for Dex, and then the thing for Yai. But no, you buy Yai's gift first because she's your most important friend.
She's the rich one, so she's the best. This game teaches you that the only valuable friend is the rich friend.
Why no Protoman? What? We killed him earlier. He's dead. Protoman's gone.
Forever.
Yes, you were the only one, Dallas. No one else in the entire world knew about the souvenirs.
So, it's funny because all this text makes it seem like that guy I just talked to, the one that kind of reminds me of Dracula, it makes it seem like he's the bad guy. But he isn't. He's just misunderstood.
Of the bug guy?
I can't tell you how many times when I first started running this game, I would accidentally buy a full energy there instead of a sneak run. Because sneak runs are almost always the second item. But in that case, it's the bottom item. Also, I do have to warn that if you have any sort of motion sickness, you get headaches easily. Within the next like minute or two, it might be a good idea to look away.
The plane is crashing. So someone brought a poisonous spider aboard the plane. It got out, and it bit the only competent adult on the plane. So we're gonna go talk to the other different kind of competent adult on the plane, and he's gonna send us on a scavenger quest to pick up a hat, some whiskey, which shoutouts to the rat.
Yo, kid, sup? Was that? You want some of this whiskey? You just oughta got crib, kid. Go suck your mama's milk. What? You still up in my face? Aight, kid. We'll see what's up. You want some of this? It ain't gonna be free. It don't come that easily. You gotta show me what you're made of. I'm gonna sing a tune, dig? You join in. If you can keep up with me, you'll get yo sip on. You ready to rumble? Hells yeah, we are. Alright, here I goes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yo. Chickity chick, baby. Make me go kaboom. Can you dig it, lady? Oh my love fire, coming to you soon. Now that's freestyle, kid. Right off the top of my head. Alright, you got it? It's your turn now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yo. Chickity chick, baby. Make me go kaboom. Can you dig it, lady? I forgot this part. Oh my love fire, coming to you soon.
You did it. Dang, kid, you got rhythm.
We're rich in whiskey.
I mean, I guess if you're rich enough to fly your entire living room in first class, you can probably.
I know, right? It's so obscene. Like this is Coach. What the heck?
It's a big blank. They're very efficient. They're running on superpower program. Clearly, they have very good margins. Oh,
Yeah,
margins.
clearly.
But yeah, shoutouts to MacGyver there. Took a hat, some whiskey, a chopstick, and a piece of string and caught a spider.
Pretty solid.
My stream froze.
Also, I've never actually
Keys.
Yeah. You not hear me?
Did my internet die?
Uh-oh. I hear you, and it looks like I'm streaming on my end still. Chad, am I still there? Okay, they can hear us. Neat. I got lost for a second. Shit. Well, while Terra's dead, let me regale you with some tales of my childhood. So back when I was a wee lad, I never knew this game existed. Fast forward about 20 some odd years later, and Montebank and Win Sunrise 1 was like, hey, you want to join us in a Mega Man Battle Network 4 blind race? And I was like, oh, that sounds stupid, I'm in. And it took me like 14 hours. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never played the series before. And then, you know, you would think that that would sour me. No, I lost horribly, please. You think that would sour me from ever wanting to do it again. But then, like, less than a month later, they were like, hey, do you want to do a blind run of Battle Network 2? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, why not? And I remember both times I played the game, I forgot you could edit your folder until someone reminded me. So in Battle Network 2, I got all the way up to Quick Command with the default folder. Why did I stick with the series after playing the worst one? Well, you see, I just wanted to play games with my friends. So there's a nice little form of irony to this, that I went from getting last place by a mile in 2 BN games in a row to at one point in time having all the records in this game. Well, Terra is dead. F in chat for Terra, please. What's interesting about this part is I think the music's really good. Like, I think it's really solid music. But Terra actually doesn't like it. And it's a shame that he's not here, because every time I've done a marathon run of this, he's always been in commentary with me. And I always bring up that this is a good track, and he's like, some people would disagree, and some people would beat him. Oops. I don't know why I paused. This is one of those parts that if you have no idea what to do, like if you're playing blind, it can really mess with you. I actually didn't have that much issue with it when I did my blind run, but let me tell you how bad Freezeman was. Freezeman was awful. Hello? Well, what made Freezeman blind really hard for me was I was using Terra's notes. And Terra's notes mentioned getting the Zappering 2B in Yum Square, but it didn't talk about any backup. So I went back to Yum Square because I didn't have the chip, and I'm like, there's no encounters. How do I do this? So I was there for quite some time, like running around like a dumbass. So this is the first boss where the attack plus 30 can come into play. It's our first boss that has 1,000 health. Consequently, he's the third to last, well, fourth to last unique boss we'll fight. So every boss from here on out that's new will either have 1,000 health or 2,000. 2,000 being gospel, of course. Also, shout out to that Prog right before this, because he's actually a really good saving point. Also, it's interesting because I just held right there. This is a really minor thing, but I just held right there. Every other time we get to that point, if you hold right, you get stuck. It's just the cutscene pushes you a pixel far enough to where you can hold right and not get caught. Now we're back. We gotta say hi to our friends, tell them we saved the day, etc. I'm giving her the booty. Now this is really important. So if I were to go to bed now, the Freezeman scenario would start. And that gate key that I got earlier, we wouldn't be able to utilize it right away. So we go in here. It's part of that front-loaded time sink I was talking about before. So now we have much cleaner, much faster, much more efficient movement for the Freezeman scenario. Now this is the last time that we fight him. What the? So this is what I meant by like... So when we were talking parity, and I was talking about how there's alternating frames for everything. So at this point in time, most everything is either Gator plus 30 or Gator plus 10 plus 10. So we got the other frame, so we had to select an extra chip. So what is the problem that we're having? Is the stream okay, or what's going on? Wait a minute. Oh. Okay. As long as you guys can still see and hear me. Oh, I see. So minor glitches include some of the clipping that I've done, which can or can't save time depending on how good or bad you are at it. What would define a major glitch is like the prism glitch, because there's a collision issue with it, and it allows you to do infinite damage for X amount of time. It's all good. Alright, so there's gonna be 3 fights that I use Silver Fist. Assuming I pull it. These are manips that I came up with on console, so I'm sure there's better manips for them. But so, Silver Fist is super duper handy because it's non-PA, so it's pretty quick in that regard. Dominards, they don't take regular damage, so you have to wait until they attack. It's kind of like a Nightman or a Quickman kind of deal. But Silver Fist has piercing capabilities, so by doing that and by doing that, I don't know what the official term for it is. Oops. I don't know what the official term for it is, but I guess it's like just a code. Like by doing a certain code, which is basically just forward and then move counterclockwise from there, you're able to make it go from just a direct punch to 3 punches being launched. And since it's in my folder anyway, it behooves me to go for it still. What the? Okay. It dropped an input there. So it behooves me to go for it still, because it's faster than the PA loading screen, and it's faster than the PA attack. Now granted, if you don't get it, then you were better off going with a more consistent setup. Well, this is one of those things where if I actually route it on emulator, I could actually see what works best and what timing works best, because it's definitely worth doing. Because you're going to put it in your folder for the Dominards anyway. And because of Silver Fist, older versions of this route would go left, talk to roll, and then go here, and then talk to the guy. But Silver Fist can also affect this fight as well. So the time save from using Silver Fist is actually worth the extra time in terms of movement. So now we're just doing Gator manips. Silver Fisting this fight is hard. But yeah, with the way that I have Silver Fist, like, it's probably not in the best slot, but with the way that I have Silver Fist set up, the wait time on the title screen is shorter. And obviously, like, you know, when you create a PA, you get the PA loading screen, and then when you use a PA, you get the PA attack cutscene. You skip both of that. So now, we're not necessarily backtracking yet, but this is going to be the start of a ton of backtracking. So the idea behind this scenario is somehow the internet has frozen over. I don't know how this keeps happening. Like, it happens in BN1, it happens in BN3. Like, I don't understand why. But we're trying to find all the cures. Now, the cures are color-coded because, you know, simplicity, I guess. So a lot of our backtracking leads to getting data and cure. That way we can clear out all the ice, so the internet is no longer frozen. No, I wasn't saying that the internet was frozen in 1 or 3. I was saying that stuff happens in the internet. So if we didn't get that, also no one cares how I go through security now, it's nice. If we didn't get that gate key A, like if we didn't go out of our way earlier, then what we would be doing is once we get to this point, because we have to do this, once we get to this point, we would actually go to Mrs. Million's purse. And we would jack in there all the time, which would require different movement and whatnot. Now, for some reason, he thinks it's appropriate to ask me a ton of questions and quiz me when the world is having an issue, but you know, whatever. So, gate key C is really, really helpful. It's another one of those things where you don't... Like, you're not really technically hurting if you don't have it, but it saves so much travel time. Oopsie. Now this is what I was talking about earlier. So if I hold right here, I get stuck. That cutscene put us just further enough to where if we held right, then I'd be fine. That cutscene's the only time you can do that. Oops, it's kind of silly. But because we have all these different gate keys, we have this as our centralized location, which is much nicer. It's less movement overall, which obviously means time save. It's also a convenient place to buy sneak runs as you use them, and whoops, I need to go to the square. And you're gonna use a ton of sneak runs. I think you use, what, 14 sets? But this is why that gate key A is super nice. So we have that really convenient hub, and now we're here. As you can see, there's ice blocking this. So if we had gone to bed, we would need the blue cure to access this. So this is a nice, convenient, and efficient way to move around. Now, what's funny about me getting wood style instead of aqua is the fights where aqua would be really, really nice to skip some manipulations are awful if you don't manipulate for wood. And the next fight coming up, it's 3 swordy 3s. They're fire element. So if I were aqua style, I would just go into this fight right now. We'd save that. We'd save the weight on a title screen. We would save the PA loading cutscene, and we would save the PA attack cutscene. We would be on our way already. There are 2 fights where it is for sure faster. There's one fight where it's a little risky to do it, but is still sometimes worth it. And then there's a 4th fight that you're an absolute madman if you do it. And I don't even know if like it's actually worth it or if it saves time. Elec and Heat are kind of pointless. Yes, the one before Freeze, man. Axel, I don't see what Yellow Cure has to do with the fact that the blue is blocking. Unless you're talking about something else. I remember the timing being close, Dallas, but maybe I timed it wrong. Who knows? Yeah, what Dallas said. I mean, like, I can literally just walk right here. There's blue right there, and there's yellow right there. The point that I was making, which it seems to be lost right now, I guess. The point I was making was the blue ice blocks you if you went to bed before you put the key in. That was the whole point of that. So this is where we needed the zap ring to be. Oops. That's 10 total sneak runs. And we're gonna buy 4 more later. There's a lot of movement. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, you'd have to go through significantly more ice. Well, this is where the backtracking becomes super obvious. So we have to go to the undernet like 5 separate times, 4 or 5. This is gonna be number 2. Oops. Oh, neat. You'll have to tell me where that is. I'm not gonna do it, but that's for future reference. I really hope that you like this area, because we're gonna be here a lot. I do like the design of the undernet, though. I think it's pretty nifty. No. Corner's too strong. This area looks like crap, though, if you don't have, like, de-interlacing or, like, good capture or S-video or higher. Like, the background static is just so hideous. I mean, think about it, though. The undernet is supposed to be like the dark web, right? And what better place to pirate things than the dark web? So if it looks like a movie theater, then it's actually probably pretty accurate. I hate myself. So this is the second easier fight. bad aqua. Since they're all lined up like this. The third fight is another set of fishies, but they're not lined up like that. So you just kind of force two of them to line up. It's a little slower than that fight, obviously. Now, this next part that I'm gonna do, it's really, really important that everyone pays attention. Like, I'll bring it up when we get closer, but so my boy Doisum, right? Shout out to Doisum. We were talking about him earlier, how he's kind of the one that helped me come up with the idea of manipulating more than just the bosses, and that's really led to how far this game's come. So my boy Doisum, he made really, really good notes for this game. And in his notes, he said, talk to the orange navvy. All right. So, you know, me learning the game, I'm like, all right, I'm going to look all over the place for this orange navvy. Because he says, talk to the orange navvy. And I looked all over the place, and I couldn't find the orange navvy, and I was like, where the hell is this thing? And my sneak run ran out, and then I ran into an encounter, and I had no idea what the heck I was fighting, and I died, and it was a bad time. Like, I didn't really... I couldn't understand. I was like, what did I do wrong? Did I possibly go the wrong way? Like, what's going on, right? It was a really bad time. It's a really, really, really bad time. Like, it actually, like, it didn't necessarily almost discourage me from running the game, but it made me go, man, like, if I'm this bad, maybe I shouldn't play it anymore. So, like I said, I got to Undernet Area 3 and I looked for the orange navvy. Now let me show you where the orange navvy is, just in case you run into Doisum's notes. And you're like, oh man, I wanna learn some of the basics of this game, you know, before you have to manipulate everything. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the orange navvy. I can't tell you how many times I ran by that guy. I'm like, he's not orange, so I don't talk to him. So I ran around and died. In fact, I think I died right next to him. Like, he's probably just like, what is this idiot doing? So that orange navvy was this guy's brother, apparently. So, you know, now he knows that his brother's safe, and now we get the blue frag A, which will take us one step closer to taking care of the blue ice. No, he's very orange, couldn't you tell? That was the most orange navvy I've ever seen. Good old orange navy. I'm surprised they're not called OMDs for orange mystery datas. I'm not seeing the purple, they're clearly orange. There's so much orange on the floor. Oh look! There's blue walkways and purple walkways. Who'da thunk? So this is the last time we go to the undernet this way. This is about the 4th time we've done it now. So we do go 5 times. Let me run up the purple stairs real quick. Run down the purple stairs and run back up the purple stairs. There's an orange navy. Alright, let's go down the purple stairs. Onto the purple path with the orange navy. So we have to backtrack just to see that that guy's down there. Now, why can't we just jump down? I don't understand. Just buy some air shoes and float down. Alright, now this is nifty. So this was something that... Oh look, it's another orange guy. So back with the old single segment route, I don't know how it goes now, but back with the old single segment route, you would wait until after this scenario, and you would get a power-up from a real-life prog, because like the prog got pulled because of all the distortion and stuff. When the manipulation route first came out, we were able to buy that because we didn't need to buy any full custs. The old single segment route bought 3 full custs, but since we don't need any of the full custs because we're manipulating, we were able to just sink that money into a power-up instead, which saved about like 40 or 50 seconds. It was a really significant amount of time save. I remember when Montebank first revealed the route, like I had record of, I can't remember what the time was. It wasn't good. It was like 420 something, not 420. It was 220 something. But Monty was like 30 seconds behind my time, but because he skipped that real life prog, he beat my time. Now this fight's atrocious if you don't have Gator or if you don't have a good prism setup, because they get their health back. It's really obnoxious. Now where was there a sneak run saved? Like, where is that supposed to happen? I might just be blind, but I didn't see where it could have been. Alright, so we're toward the end of the scenario. Gospel ID, oh boy, what a name. So these fights are awful in single segment if you don't get the right draws. Because like these guys get out of sync. If you're wood style for the next fight, you could just outright die. And the other fight just has a bunch of broken tiles. So this was the third fight that I was talking about that you could possibly get away with no manip. So you'd have to have everything stack up, which is kind of an annoying thing to do. Single segment's no manip. Yeah, other than you do one manip in single segment, and that's at the beginning, because it doesn't require any saving or quitting. And you manip for Aqua style, which you can do like before you start the game. This is one of those. This is the fourth fight I was talking about that like you'd have to be a madman to do. So the only reason it would be faster is if one, you had Aqua, and two, if you got a good draw right off the bat. So it's never worth it. Now I have Freeze Man, and just like Snake Man, Freeze Man has a few frames early. I think Dallas said it was like 10 or something, but like while he's setting up his little ice shield, you can take him out. So by defeating the Master of Ice, all the ice is now gone. Let's go, team. And now we tell Mom that we saved the day. She's proud of us. Still no raise in our allowance. But we immediately go back. Because we have all these gate keys, and, you know, the gate keys are super duper nice. Since we have the gate keys, we're able to go to Kodo Square really quickly. And Kodo Square has a power-up that we can buy, and then we can buy some sneak runs here too. If it were just the sneak runs, I mean, this would still be faster. Because we have to go back here anyway. And go to where Freeze Man was. To advance the plot a little more. So the fastest way to get here is just going back into your room and doing this. Because of the gate keys. So now we have to talk to Dad again. Dad is like super duper involved in all of this without actually ever being anywhere close. Kind of silly. So that real life prog I was talking about, it would be over in the area where we would enter the internet to fight Shadow Man. And it would be after we activate this cutscene. So you'd go here, deal with the cutscene, go back, grab the power up, then go back here. It was very, very slow. Yeah, there's so much radiation that the internet's freaking out and whatnot. Aw, damn. You have to use the elevator switch, Lan. So now we just jack into the mainframe of everything. So what's interesting about this is the concept of this area is the radiation messes with a bunch of the teleports. Messes with a bunch of the teleporters. So you have to find bits and pieces to fix the radiation. Like think of it like a repair kit. Like this Lbit 082 is basically a repair kit. So you can fix this teleporter and have it go where it's supposed to go. The idea, casually, was every time you fixed something, every time you repaired a teleporter, you can access another floor in the real world. So you could go to the elevator, and instead of only being able to access floor 2, you could access a multitude of other floors eventually. But for the sake of speed, we don't bother with that. It's just faster to stay in here and do all the work on this floor in 2 goes. So we'll keep going until we get Elbit 042, and then we'll jack out and jack back in and start the process over, because obviously doing that's a little bit faster movement. The one thing that I really like about a bunch of the final comp areas in all the Battle Network series games is the music tends to get you like really excited, really pumped up, so on and so forth. And like you can really tell that you're right near the end. I've always really enjoyed this comp. Like, as confusing as it might be casually, once you get the speed strat down, it's really fast and it makes a ton of sense. But like the music is really good. The concept is really cool. So now that we got Elbit 042, it's faster for us to leave and then re-enter. If I were to go back to the elevator right now, we'd have, what, like 3 extra floors open now? 3 or 4? But Elbit 042 fixes a teleporter that's in the second area, so it's just faster to do this. Otherwise, it'd be a ton of teleporting and whatnot. Now, what's tricky about this is I could put Elbit 042 in right now, and I'd fix the teleporter. But then we would have to... I think it's like floor 22 you'd have to go to. If you did that, you would lose access to this area. Because as you see, every time you fix a teleporter, I mean, for lack of better words, you fix a teleporter. You get to go to where you're supposed to go. But that EV Elbit right there is really important, because that's how you access the boss area. So if I were to have put this in earlier, then we'd have to go back, and I think it's real world floor 22. Oh my god. I want to say that loses like... It doesn't lose like a huge amount of time, but it loses enough to where it's bad. No, walls. So yeah, like, kind of just explaining it again. So as you saw, we got sent to a different area then after we fix it. So if we put in Elbit 042 before we grab the EV Elbit, we wouldn't be able to access the area without jacking into a different computer. Now there's only one more teleporter we have to fix from here, and then we fix them all. So let's see. So since I have attack plus 10 in slot 3, what I need to do is let him move twice. His movement advances the RNG. If I did not have an attack plus 10 in slot 3, he would only move once. It's that parity we were talking about before. Now what's interesting about this is to make sure that we get Gator in the next fight. We buster him once now, it advances the RNG once. We let him move and hit us, because us taking damage also advances the RNG. So he does all his movement to advance the RNG after we advance the RNG with a shot. And then we take a hit to advance the RNG again. Cutman was holding up 2 fingers to let us know it would only take 2 Gator hits. 2 Gator butt slaps. So, like I mentioned before, we bought 2 Wind Stars, and we just now put it in our deck. We don't need the second Wind Star yet, but the way that the folder edits work, it's just faster to put it in now. Alright, so this is another case. So, since I had Fan in slot 7, that means that I'm in an alternate frame. So I buster him once. And now every fight from here on out will have Gator plus 30 or Gator plus 10 plus 10. Now, while the B-Tank's movements advance RNG, I don't think Magnet Mans do. Or if they do, it's not significant enough to affect it. So I'm on a new setup since the last time I seriously ran this game. And for whatever reason on this new setup, I have not been consistent with this, so hopefully I just get it first try. But yeah, that was the Walk of Doom that I mentioned before we had Raoul crotch manip. Oh, that better not mess with it. My thumb slipped. We'll find out. If worst comes to worst, we do this run again. Cool. All right, so that manip is hard in the sense of you don't want to mess up your movement. you can't save once you enter that comp. That was frame perfect. That was frame perfect. That's silly. Alright, so he has invulnerability on like the first frame that he opens his mouth, and in like the first frame he closes his mouth, he's vulnerable. That's silly. Oh, we get to see this again. So what I was trying to explain was like, you don't want to mess up the movement here because you can't save in the area. So you have to take advantage of setting up before you enter. And it's a lot of movement. Like there's a lot of movement and there's a lot of RNG that's just being parsed through. So chaining this is actually pretty difficult. But this looks like the same exact setup we got before, so we're fine. But I don't actually, like, I don't know if it's actually, like, straight up frame perfect or if there's, like, a couple of frames, but I know, like, it's a really tight window that as soon as Gospel opens his mouth, he's still invulnerable, and then as soon as he closes his mouth, he's still vulnerable. So I just need to not be swag. There we go. So I take the hit here on purpose and the hit just now because, as I mentioned before, taking hits changes the RNG. So this ensures that I can just mash A and there's no bug frag that just shows up. So according to my timer, that was a 2:22:28, which is 10 minutes worse than my actual PB. It's kind of sad, but still. Not too terrible, not too terrible. Underestimate as usual. I don't know if I have the prism glitch to show off on my Japanese cart. I could check real quick. If not, then, well, you'll see it next time, I guess. Assuming that it's allowed in. The single segment might be the next one in. So you might have a marathon without me for once. Let me see if I can find my cart. What the heck? Found Japanese Battle Network 1. Didn't even realize I had that. Battle Network 4 Red Sun. Gross. Battle Network 4 Blue Moon. Just as gross. Where the heck? Battle Network 1. Battle Network 3 Blue. Alright, so bad news, I can't find my cart. Trying. Where the heck is... the heck? Huh. Well, I tried. can't seem to locate it. This might be the cart. I can check real quick. Hold on, give me just